Hi, I'm Lee Snyder of Doc's Total Package. I want to show you something special. My good friend just bought this truck, and he assured me he doesn't smoke. And if he did smoke, I would have told him he did the right thing by smoking in his car. Certainly, that works out good for us. We're going to see, as you let your eyes fall close here to the hole here, you notice that this material here is weave material. And what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a circular stitch. And before we do that, then I'm going to take the ominous task of threading the needle. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to say we got it on the first try. Sometimes it takes 2 tries. And always is the case, and it's always my goal to make sure that in the course of sewing, I accomplish 2 things. 2 things is very important to me. Well, 3 things actually. The first one is getting a hold of the thread. The second one is actually making sure that I accomplish the task and sewing the holes accordingly. And the third, of course, is making sure that I don't puncture myself and hemorrhage to death. So I try to be very careful when I'm doing my sewing. Okay, so we have our stitch technique there, and sometimes the tail that's still too long, it's best to reduce the size of the tail here. Now, what we're basically going to do, we're going to circle the hole here in a circular pattern. By coming in here to the weave material, we're going to come up, and we stay real close, and we come back up like this. We're coming back, and we're going to repeat this process. And as you're going to see, you shouldn't see any of the thread, or if you do, you'll see just a tiny bit. This thread is a thread that I chose primarily because of the fact that it's very close to one of these many colors that are here. And that's certainly important too, because as you're doing that repair, the thread itself is going to serve as not only as a binding agent, but tying it together, as it were, but also it's going to act as a type of filler too. And that's certainly important when you're trying to make a repair not only strong and structurally sound, but also that you make it very attractable and visually pleasing. And as you can see, this doesn't really take very long. Something like this, individuals will get the truck and they're faced with replacement, and replacements can be very costly. Some will spend up to $175, $275 just for the material itself, let alone the cost of putting it in. Well, it takes us this long. You might charge the customer between $45, $55. And, all these are factors, but needless to say, the customer is certainly thrilled not having to pay that kind of money. Now, if you notice there, I'm going to pull this at an angle like this. You notice as I pull it, you notice how the material shrinks. We're trying to be very careful. We don't want to cause a dimple. And sometimes if it does dimple, see, it's starting to dimple here a little bit. It's important that when you sew weave material, that the weave material is not glued to the foam. If it is glued to a foam and it's not free, then of course this technique is really not going to work out as well as this is working right now. And here at the point, what I do, at a certain point I do a crossover, and then that crossover stitch system kind of helps stabilize and center the circular stitch. Now, of course, as always is the case, here comes the dubious task of tying a knot. And as I said, a lot of times I like to put it in the center if I can, pulling the material taut, and then running the needle somewhere else like so, cutting the thread way over here, and letting it dangle somewhere inside. Now, sometimes, in the case here, it might be a situation where you have a little hole. This one's pretty good. And sometimes it's a matter of tucking the weave material down, but you can see overall it's pretty soft. But sometimes there might be a little bit of hole there, in which case, if that's the case, then we'll use some of the velour fiber. In this particular case, we have black, we have blue here, and then it's just a matter of take a little blue, a little black, and because this has both those colors in it, we don't really have to mix them real completely to mix up. Sometimes it's just a combination of both those colors. I forget where the hole is. I think it's over here. But of course the hole is sewed up real good, and then just by putting the adhesive in there, which I don't have with me right now. But the adhesive is white and dries clear, and you put it in the hole, and you got to stabilize, and you got a good sound and taut repair. So that's the complete story, friends. And just remember, the needle and thread, just give us a call. But we're more than just needle and thread, because we have a whole assortment of line of products and everything. And give us a call, because let the doctor show you how to do your job.